Hi everybody. Today I thought I would do a quick vlog on doll collecting in general. This has come up because I've just recently started to do videos again and noticed that I'm having really great discussions with other doll collectors about what makes them choose a certain doll or what makes them pass on a certain doll. And I realized how much I have changed over the past few years from when I started collecting groove dolls to now. And I think people have noticed. That's why I think the conversation has been really awesome. So I was gonna call this the Reformed Doll Collector, but I'm not reformed. Come on, I'm still, I mean, this is just today's selection, for crying out loud. And I was gonna call it Evolved. And I think everybody evolves, so that wasn't right. So I don't know what I'm going to title this, but I do want to talk about the process of going through when I started doll collecting to now. And I guess I'd be most interested always in your own journey. Like, when did you start collecting and when did you start to see that changing? Like, I've noticed that some of the people that I was very, very close with in the beginning of my pull-up collecting journey are no longer even in dolls, or they've moved on to different dolls, or they're collecting something completely differently, or they've changed their lives. I mean, we all continue to grow. We have to. I still am obsessed with pull-ups, so don't worry about that. I think what I realized was the place I was in my life when I started collecting dolls was I would have never spent more than $20 on a doll. I never would have done that. A $20 Barbie was like the limit for me. And when I finally made that leap and said, I deserve a doll like a Blythe doll or a pull-up doll, that first rush that you get when you invest in a doll like that is, for a doll collector, and I'm speaking for myself, is just this amazing, fulfilling feeling. You feel validated, if that makes sense. I think many of us grow up thinking dolls are for kids or you're supposed to grow out of it. So I think whenever you come to this point as an older collector, when you spend that kind of money on a doll, you think, well, that didn't hurt at all. That was amazing. And then what you realize is it opens up a world of other collectors, and it's a gateway to some great friendships. I'm certainly part of that. Anyway, I was that person that would never have spent $20 on a doll, and then I suddenly had 4 pull-up dolls, and I thought, this is dangerous. I'm a collector. I've always been a collector. This could get dangerous. And I found myself working for dolls. Like, my paycheck went to just dolls. I wouldn't spend $20 on a t-shirt for myself, but I would spend much more than that for an outfit for a doll because it was just the perfect look. So over the last few years, what's happened is I remember walking into my doll room, the ones that you've seen in the collection videos, and I just thought, how did this happen? How I had never, can ask everybody who's close to me, I've never, as much as I love toys and dolls, I've never been so focused on owning a lot of things. I say that in front of this. And I just found, for me, again, all of this is my own personal journey, I found for me that it was too many. It was too many. I walked into my doll room after a business trip and realized that I had used dolls for everything, for every excuse, for every bad day, for every moment, anything that triggered me, I would buy a doll. And it was no longer about feeling like I needed this doll because, wow, she's so pretty, she'd look great in my collection, I really, really like this one, to, oh, there's new releases, I need to have them all. And there was always that rush of getting those new dolls, inspecting them almost in I don't know, I wouldn't say non-feeling, but almost in a like a corporate kind of way, right? I'm dissecting them down to their stock and thinking about how the video is going to look when I review this doll. And once I do the video, many of these dolls just ended up in the back of a shelf, crammed behind rows of other dolls. Now, that's not to say that you're not a collector who just, I mean, I watch these videos of like Barbie collectors who have a house full of dolls and it's just wall to wall to wall Barbies, and it makes them so happy. That's their joy. And that's wonderful. I think that's amazing. We're all very different. But personally, I realized I was collecting dolls not in that joyous way that I had started, and really had just wanted to accumulate. It was complete collecting mode. I have to have them all. I don't care how much money they are. And you can always justify, well, I don't spend any money on myself. Well, I don't have children. Well, I make a lot of money. Well. But it didn't take away from this feeling after I had these dolls that, okay, well, I have it now. I'll just stuff it on a shelf. And I started to think, I haven't even looked at many of these dolls in a long time, and it would take a full day to just clean the room, to take the dolls out, dust them, and put them back, and that would be the only time I would even see some of these dolls. And I would admire them and remember, sometimes I'd get a spark and think, oh my goodness, this doll's so pretty. Why is it 10 rows back in a shelf? So anyway, I had this moment of clarity that this isn't the doll collector I want to be. This isn't, as much as I love each of these dolls, I don't love them equally, and I didn't get them for the reasons that I started collecting dolls in the first place. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know if I hope I'm not alone in this. I'm assuming that over time, all of us have our own evolution, our own journey, and that was mine. So I started to weed through them, and my life was kind of changing at the time, and I'm going through some other things too. And I just thought, I bet half of these would make somebody happy somewhere else. And I went on a huge binge. I sold half my collection. It's so crazy to think that. Don't worry, I still have quite a few dolls and they still keep coming in. But I just realized I had not given many of these dolls a lot of time and attention, and I would see posts from people who said, this is my grail, I wish I could find this doll, oh, this one's sold out, ugh. And I thought, I'm gonna make these affordable. I'm going to rehome many of these dolls. And I know that I'll still get to see photos of them because many of them are in the Facebook group or they're on Instagram. And that has been so rewarding. I'll tell you that sometimes I'll be scrolling through Instagram or on Facebook and I'll see a photo and recognize like a custom doll that I had bought years ago and sold, or a stock doll, knowing that this is that person's only doll. And I'll just get so happy. Like, that's the joy that had me start collecting in the first place. So here I am. It's been, I think I started, well, somebody called me out. Mike from Pull Up Style called me out and said I had made my first video, I think 7 years ago. Oh my gosh. So I was still in my 30s. Oh, those were good years. And I didn't realize it's been that long. So it's been 7 years at least since I started collecting, maybe longer, maybe 8 years. That's a long time. And I'm a lot different. I really scrutinize the stock dolls. The stock dolls, Groove has been killing it, and they have made it very difficult to stay clean in 2020 and now in 2021, which I posted a video on those upcoming releases. But I don't need to have every doll anymore. And sometimes I need to even have that conversation with myself. And you do not need this doll. You do not need all the dolls. You don't need the dolls just to have the dolls. You don't have the room for the dolls. So I have these conversations in my head. And I'll tell you, many times I'll have a doll in my cart and my finger is on buy, and and then I'll ask myself a question, be like, yeah, but what did that other doll look like that I really want that's sold out, but I might be able to find somewhere else? Like this just happened the other day, and I had Vesta. So Vesta was in my cart at Pull Up Style, and I just thought, I can do this. I know this doll is going to be beautiful. I've seen a couple of owner reviews. Let's buy this. And I thought, but her eye chips are just not my style. Okay, I can change her eye chips. Do I really want to rip the wig off of a very expensive doll, open up her head, pop her eyes out? And do I want to go through all that for so I went through this kind of mental journey of deciding whether or not this doll was worth it, and worth it can mean so many things. So I didn't order Vesta yet. However, I'll tell you, if I saw her on pull-up sales on Facebook or on eBay and she was like a decent price, or maybe she already has her eye chips changed out, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. If you're feeling that, you might want to sell me a Vesta with new eyes, think of me. So that's kind of where I am. The stock dolls, I really scrutinize the details. I don't need to be the first one to have the doll to do the review for everybody else. I'm the one sitting back here waiting for somebody else to get the doll, and I'll watch it and decide. So that's stock. And with custom dolls, it's a little harder. On one hand, yes, on one hand, no. It's harder because I love a custom doll. I mean, you can look on the shelf behind me. It's a mix of, these are just dolls that I have out for. I mean, I have quite a few of them in their boxes. I have many of them packed away. I've realized that having one shelf and changing them out makes me very happy. It's like taking out Christmas ornaments and changing. But I have quite a few custom dolls. And here's one. She dropped her thing. So my latest custom doll craze, I'm going to do a review of many of these artists that are new to me. I'm not going to say new, but new to me. This is a French artist that I happened upon on Instagram because they were doing a giveaway. I'd never heard of this artist. It's Atelier Ravin, R-A-V-I-N. Highly recommend looking that up, and it just spoke to me. I think that the carving work is amazing. Those eyelashes, your lips, my goodness, and then the eyebrows. I just thought, that is a different looking doll. What a talented person that is. And she had, assuming it's a she had offered commissions for face-ups, and I just couldn't resist. In fact, I couldn't resist so much I sent her a second one. Oh my gosh, I can't stop. Anyway, so that's just one example of an artist that I've really been intrigued by. I think I've found that more than anything right now, the joy that I'm having in collecting dolls is finding new artists, face-up artists that I've never heard of. On Etsy, on Instagram, wherever I can find an artist who maybe doesn't have a lot of followers yet or has just started. There's one that I just commissioned. I think I won a bid on a face-up they were selling, and it's Dreamilu, Dream I-L-U on Instagram. Oh my goodness, this person is crazy talented. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I'm gonna put her back. And then this one, I think you might have seen a picture of her on Instagram. Look at these amazing pants. The pants are from my friend, Mina Mimosa, and the shoes are from Doremi. Look how fancy those boots are. Ooh, she's taking names. So this face-up is by Atelier Darrell. I do have kind of a similar look on many of these dolls. I like kind of that girl next door look. But that's where I'm finding most of the joy. I'm finding these artists, whether they're new or they're new to me, and styling them, and that's been a ton of fun. It also means that I get to find artists who make doll clothes, that make doll eye chips, accessories, all of that fun stuff. And it takes that collecting joy to kind of a next level for me. So I love the custom dolls still. When I'm super lucky and crazy, I'll get a full custom doll, sometimes secondhand. It really comes down to what speaks to me at the time. It's not easy. I'll tell you that. Let me put her right here so I'm afraid those boots, she'll fall. It's not easy because old me is still in my head going, you have to have all the dolls. You have to look at all the dolls. You have to know all the artists. You have to get out there and you have to have all these dolls. But me today, Zen doll collector Ange, is saying, yes, you can go crazy every once in a while, but just make sure that it actually makes you happy. Make sure that you will find joy in it today and tomorrow, not just you got it and you won that bid, or you scored that doll, or you have the entire collection of XYZ. It's still hard. Speaking of entire collection, I've been holding this in my hand. This, oh my gosh, I now have 6 of these. There's only 12. This is Bunny Magic. This is a Pop Mart blind box series. This one I got on Amazon, but I just ordered some from a company called Strange Cat. By the way, I'll put these links if you're interested. I'm always looking for places to shop. Strange Cat Toys, which is located in Florida, and they do a lot of blind boxes and toys and miniatures and stuff like that. Anyway, Bunny Magic. Oh my gosh. I have to sort of balance my love of dolls with my love of everything else. Anyway, so that is kind of my story. I'm actively shopping. I'm certainly interested in collecting new things and adding to my collection, but trying to be okay with not having to collect everything, if that makes sense. And to me, I feel like I've done a good job when I think about my collection and I'm not thinking, okay, I know there's at least 10 dolls that I can sell. I know that I don't need all of those. I can get rid of those. I don't want to feel that way about my collection. Yes, sometimes there'll be a doll and I'll think, oh, well, this one I thought I really loved and I can rehome it. That's one thing. But I never want to be in that position again where my collection is so ginormous that it takes up an entire room and I can't get around in it and I can't even really enjoy or appreciate the collection that I had. And I want to stress again that this is really just my opinion, my way of thinking. I think that we all collect differently and there's no wrong way to do it. It's your way. And that's amazing. I think that's one of the things that makes this community so awesome is we all collect differently. We collect different types of things. We change over time and that's also okay. There's some people on like Facebook, for instance, that I met when they were young. They were young artists, or I met them at Puddle or something, and now they're getting married. They're going off to college. They're going through their life journey, and all of it is just so cool. So I would love to hear from you what your journey is, how you've evolved over time, maybe what your low points were, what your high points. I know low points for me were realizing that I was buying dolls every time I had a bad day, and then realizing after the fact, every time I looked at that doll, I thought about that bad day. So not a good reason for me to buy a doll. And then high points, always if I do a doll swap with a friend, I do some halfway decent face up for a friend or something. Those are always fun projects. And anytime I can get together in person with people is magical for me. That's always going to be, I think, the most important thing about doll collecting, which is weird. It's not even the dolls. So I have rambled on probably long enough, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what your journey's been. I am doing a little bit better job staying on top of my comments and messages, so thank you for being patient with me as I have been kind of transitioning in life. But I'm back, and I hope to do more of these. I actually have quite a few videos planned, but I did want to stop and do this one quickly because it had come up a few times, and I wanted to share my thinking and, as always, hear what you have to say. So we will talk soon. Bye, everybody.